What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Okay, you guys already know what this is. This is Sunday. This is season 4, episode 8. It's done. Only 2 episodes left. I was mistaken last week because everything I read online was saying that the episodes was cut short. I could only find 8 episodes, the casting for 8 episodes. And what actually happened with Power was that although they filmed and wrote 12 episodes, they would only let Power have 10 episodes on Stars. And so therefore the episode that we saw last week, episode 7, was like 2 episodes jammed into one, which is why it was confusing, which is why there were no unanswered questions and it felt super duper rushed. All right. um Okay, so what you got last week was my authentic feelings on the show and how it was, my perception of how it was written. What you're going to get this week is my authentic perception of what happened on this episode 8. It's done. You are not going to get anything from 9. I have not seen 9. You're not going to get anything from 10. I have not seen 10. I am not going to watch 9, and I am not going to watch 10 until they release it. That's just the way it is. This is what makes the show great for me. I don't like to run ahead of the show. You guys already know if you watch my Queen Sugar reviews. I've not read the book, even though the book I'm told deviates from the TV show, because I don't want any spoilers. I want to experience the show as Ava DuVernay produced it. Same thing with this, with the episode of Power. So if you're looking for spoilers here, you're not going to get it. I'm sorry. And also, I'm asking you, we are only talking about episode 8 down below. If you guys want to discuss it, y'all know how we do. We love to hash it out and talk about it. We're only talking about episode 8. If you know what happened in episode 9 and 10, don't share it down below in the comment section. Don't share information like it just came to you while you was watching episode 8 and you know you watch episode 9 and 10 and privy to some information that we don't have. Don't do that here. Here we operate in authenticity, and I want to make sure you guys always get my authentic reaction to television, the television shows that we love. Off the rip, you get my authentic reaction to it. So I said all that to say there are no spoilers here. Don't leave any spoilers here. Do not talk with us down below as if you know what's really going on just from watching episodes 1 through 8, and you know it's because you watch 9 and 10. Like, don't be uncool. I mean, don't be all uncool about it. Okay, so that's it, y'all. I don't like to harbor too much on stuff, because we keep it happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy over here. All right. Okay, so without further ado, remember to subscribe, remember to like, and remember to comment down below. Welcome to everyone who subscribed from last week. Here we go. Power season 4, episode 8. It's done. This episode was about partnerships, new partnerships, old partnerships, sneaky deaky partnerships. All right. And we see it every little place, in and out, weaving it through. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. First things first, we're going to talk about this partnership between Tasha and Silver. It's gross. It's awkward. It's creepy to me. I think the actor that plays Silver, I don't know. He gives me a real feminine vibe at times. At times he gives me, kind of, he gives me like a little hater vibe, but in a real girly type way. The episode opens with Ghost coming, James St. Patrick coming over to see Silver. He's waking him up. Silver sees a note from Tasha. She had to be out, thank goodness, because apparently the elevator opens right up into Silver's apartment. He's standing there with the t-shirt on and underwear, and him and James talk a good few seconds before he meanders around James, and then he goes to put his pants on. He learns all the while that what what the reason why James is there is because he wants to know if Silver's talked to Proctor and there's anything that's coming up that we should know about. And Silver's like, we? And he is like, yeah, we, our case, our thing. What's going on with us? If they, no, but if Proctor knew anything, I mean, I don't know. I could give him a call. I'm sure they would tell me first, though, let me know. And he was like, yeah, you want me to check into it? He's like, nah, you don't have to do. You sure, man? Because you done came all the way over here intruding, and now you act like it's no big deal. So on his way out the door, Ghost finds one of Tasha's earrings. And I was like, oh, you got to know you had a lady, man. Yeah, none of us were really clear on that. And he was like, I wouldn't call it a lady. It's kind of a gray area. It's just, you guys, the sex scene, this scene, all just seems like a man out of place to me. Later on, after Silver gets some information from Angela, he takes the opportunity to come to the house to tell James and Tasha the information. And Tasha, is of course happy to see him. She's been walking around kind of starry-eyed and love gazed all this time since they was together, in this awkward, praying mantis type sex scene. It was just like arms and legs and it was just, Tasha's breasts are great, but other than that, that sex scene was womp womp. And he's also flirting with Tasha, um, giving her, I mean, he came over to my house. Do you think he knows anything? And Tasha's like, no. And she tries to talk to him. He was like, no, girl, listen, we're going to talk about this later. Meet me for dinner. Okay. And this time you are going to wear the strap on. I just don't see it. I'm not buying this whole situation. So that's Tasha and Silver. Let's go ahead and talk about Reina and Tariq while we're on the subject. Tariq had a big moment during this episode, right? First of all, Tasha and Keisha are in the kitchen talking. Keisha is hella hostile. I'm not really sure why Keisha is so hella hostile, but she hella hostile. I know her shop and all of that. So she's stomping around there. She notices that Tasha is just kind of daydreaming and stargazing and smiling. I mean, she is really, really super duper into Silver. And just Tariq is like right across the dining room and sitting there. He doesn't have any headphones on. He's able to hear all of that. We're not even trying to hide. And Raina comes in and pitches the school to her mom. While her mom is talking to her about the school, she notices the bruise on her arm. Remember, Tariq got very aggressive with Raina last week and pushed her out of his room, pushed her down on the ground. And she's pitching just for herself to go to this school. And her mom's like, well, why would you want to go to this school? Dumb question number one. We see later on Ghost ask Tariq the same stupid question. Why wouldn't they want to go? Kids do not like to be in chaos and turmoil. Newsflash. Anyway, right before Raina walked up, Tasha was going to tell Keisha all about Silver right there in front of Tariq. Tariq is listening to Raina tell about it. He's waiting for her to mention the fact that he is the one that bruised her arm, but she says no, she bumped into somebody at school. She really thought about the school. They've got some good programs and she wants to go. And her mom says, yeah, I'll think about it, right? Right after that, Tariq texts Brains. Y'all know Brains in Big Country ran with Jukebox and Kanan. Tariq has decided that he is going to run with Brains to do another lick. So, of course, they get together to do the lick. Tariq has got his, styrofoam cup full of lean, and this is how it's going to roll. Tariq is going to be an innocent student. He's going to go up to the person's door. As soon as they open the door, he's going to make his pitch. He's going to look around to see if anyone else is there. If no one else is there, he's going to give them the signal. They're going to come in and rob the people, right? Easy peasy. He's done this with Kanan before, except he was present in the home, occupying his friends. Nothing bad ever happened. So what could possibly go wrong? Goes to the door, sells it to the lady, talks to the lady a little bit. He's his father's son. He's very charming as well, in his own little way. And the lady, of course, is like, hey, no problem. Let's see how much cash I've got in my purse. Gives the guys the signal. The guys come in and She is coming right back as they're coming in. They slug Tariq, knock his hat off, and put a gun to his head. And she's like, leave him alone. They take her upstairs. Oh, one of the guys take her upstairs. The other guy says, you did good. You did great. Brains. You did good. You did great. Sorry, I had to hit you up. I'm going to go upstairs. As soon as I go upstairs, you leave. All right. And so Tariq is like, cool. But what does he do? Because he can hear the lady kind of, struggling a little bit, and he goes on upstairs and follows him. When he gets up there, he sees Big Country raping the girl, and he's the woman, and he sees Brains emptying out, and Brains getting on Big Country like, what are you doing? We supposed to be here robbing the place. They got on masks too, right? We supposed to be here robbing the place. And Three gets upset and he says, Brains, make him stop. Now what he's done is expose um Brain's street name, obviously. And two, now this woman knows that Tariq is involved. And Brains tells him, I really, really wish you hadn't have done that. And he shoots the lady in the head. It's very traumatic. Shoots the lady in the head and turns back to look at Tariq, and Tariq has gone. Tariq is down the stairs. He is ghost. He has ran. I mean, he ran like the devil was chasing him until he got to a place where he could sit down and catch his breath. And Brain is calling him and texting him back to back. Where you at? Call me back. Holler at me. Let me talk to you for a minute. So when he finally gets home in the evening and sees his dad having, um, you know, drinks with a potential client, he takes an opportunity to, one, to continue on trying to be, good old all-American Tariq. Great kid, great head on his shoulders, a whole nine. He is constantly still getting these texts and these calls from Brains, and it dawns on him, this is what I'm going to do. He talks to his dad in front of his dad's potential client, whom we don't really know a lot about yet, that he wants to go to Connecticut, this Connecticut school. All right, and so Ghost is like, you really don't think you want to do that? And Tariq is like, okay, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. They got science and basketball there. Y'all know how kids can really, really sell it. Like, they're excellent liars. They're terrible liars at the same time. They're excellent, excellent liars. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight faces, everything. Tariq and Reina both are trying to get out for different reasons. Raina really, really wants to get away from all of the bull crap that's going on at home. And Tariq really, really wants to get away from Brains and getting his brains splattered all over the ground. And so, unbeknownst to the two of them, they are working together to sell this whole school away at school in Connecticut situation. Of course, we have been waiting for Tommy and Ghost to come back together as buddies, as bros for a long time. So, what do we see? Tommy. Let's talk about Tommy first. Tommy is ready to declare war on the Jimenez sibling psychos. Now, the reason why is because he put before them this ultimatum. He told them to think about it and let him know now that he still has not heard from them. So, he's feeling some type of way. If he don't hear from them by a certain time, him and his boys gonna go to swinging on the Jimenez cartel. Now, this isn't smart. Dre knows it isn't smart, and he kind of questions him on it. What about the Serbians? What do the Serbians think? And Tommy lets him know the Serbians don't need to know nothing about this. This is me. This is what I'm doing. And don't you ever question me again. Dre gets it. Back down. Back down. This is not a hill he want to die on. But still, this war ain't going to be good for nobody. He's not thinking straight 100% because he got a lot of irons in the fire. He also got to deal with this whole Terese situation. After talking to Terese, and Terese says that he's his dad, he goes to talk to Kate. Kate lies straight to his face. He knows that she is lying about something. He can't put his hand on it, but he know his mama is a liar. Just about everybody on this show is a liar in one capacity or another. But he know Kate is a liar. He busy though. So he go over to talk to her and shake the truth out of him. He can't get it out. He gets a call from Ghost. He's out. All right. He also goes and talks to Connie. Now, he's really there to talk to Sam, but Connie is there, and Connie is also suspicious because she is probably always known in some way, shape, or form that her husband ain't ish. He welcomes Tommy on in and tries to talk to him, and they go back and forth. She finds out where he lives. She finds out what his mama name, his last name is, and all of that. And in the meantime, Tommy tries to smooth with her. He ends up seeing a younger picture of Teresa, and then he sees a picture in a book of Teresa holding him as a baby in front of a house that him and his mama lived at back in the day. So he goes back to Kate and confronts her again with the picture and lets her know, I know that you are that this is my father. He's already talked to Teresa, and Teresa has tried to convince him that his mom is lying and she's tricking him and all this stuff. So this is what's leading him to this place where now he wants to confront Kate. Kate admits it. He is your father, but he left us. He went to the store to get some milk that same day and never came back. She also goes to see Teresa and threatens to tell Connie about him having a son, which he does not take kindly to at all. Like he was enjoying catting and mousing with her until she mentioned Connie. When she mentioned Connie, he was like, "Don't think I won't kill you from in here. Please do not let these bars fool you," right? But she holds her ground. Stay away from my son. I don't want you near my son, all right? So later on we see, because Tommy is between a rock and a hard place, he does the unthinkable, which is get in the bed with Teresa in terms of a favor. All right. But we're gonna talk about that. Let's talk about the meetup. Boop, boop, boop. Ghost has learned through conversations with others that Tommy is trying to start a war with the Jimenez. So they meet up, and I love their chemistry together. Like, they are connected truly as brothers. All right, so they go into the whole conversation. Soon as Tommy walks up, Ghost wants to know about the Jimenez war. Tommy wants to talk about, did you know Teresa was my daddy? Y'all both got blue eyes. You kind of look alike, but yeah, no, maybe, I'm not sure. Like, yeah, possibly. What are you talking about? Let's talk about this Jimenez thing. He was like, no. And he says, did you talk to Kate? Yes, I talked to Kate. He says, well, y'all do kind of look like, let's talk about this whole Jimenez thing. We can't do this, man. What does Chicago think? What are they going to think about this whole situation? And he says, and Tommy tells him, I told him about the whole Lobos situation and still nothing. They haven't contacted me. And I can't go back to them and say, please, please, please agree with my deal, because I don't want to go to war with you. That's going to make me look weak. And I can't do that. I definitely can't do that in front of Jimenez. And he wants Ghost to come and Ghost to have a conversation with the Jimenez twin siblings, and Ghost don't want to go and do what it look like me having to sit down with known drug dealers, and I'm trying to get out from underneath all this situation I got going on here. And he's saying, listen, you want to be in charge, be in charge. You want to handle it and smooth this over, you got to get involved yourself. This is what Tommy telling him, and so he agrees. All right. At the same time, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Ghost is dealing with his um distrust for Proctor all of a sudden. Remember, Proctor is now a liability. Why is he a liability? Because the body. Because he was in charge of getting rid of the body, as well as in charge of disposing of this laptop with all this audio on it from Bailey. And he assures Ghost, after Ghost sidles up next to him at his daughter's school and questions him about the conversation he was having with Mark. I came over to see you the other night, and Mark was there. Now, you didn't even bother to tell me that Mark had called you or contacted you about this whole Bailey situation. And Proctor tells him, because everybody here are liars, and you have to be a good liar to survive on power. Everybody knows that, and Dre is proving it beautifully, right? But so he tells them it was nothing to talk about. They don't really have anything. He was fishing, the cell tower, the pinging. Last phone calls was to me, but it's nothing really that they can put their finger on. And he's saying, well, if he come back to you, you need to tell me. And also, if he wants you to turn state evidence, you need to, what are you supposed to be telling him? What you gonna do? He letting him know, I like you, you cool with me or whatever, but I don't have no problem snapping your neck. And Proctor knows. We get to see Ghost and Tommy sit down with the Jimenez cartel. And when the Jimenez sister was coming down that stairwell to them, Tommy and Ghost was standing side by side, and Ghost was like, damn. And Tommy was like, ooh, yeah, she fine as hell. But Kitty has claws, all right. So last week I think people were kind of feeling like that Tommy was gonna kind of low key get into it with this Jimenez chick, like they was gonna start messing around. But I'm not so sure that it's not Ghost that she might end up messing around with. She seemed like she was a low key turned on with how charming Ghost is. Now, of course, so Ghost goes into his spiel and he does what he does best, which is be charming, which is be confident and exuding confidence. And he starts to run the Mickey freaky game. All right, I get it. I get all this. But me and you both, Diego, we talked about. I worked the deal for Julio's life through you, and I'm very disappointed about Julio not being alive anymore. But and Diego's like, well, that's water under the bridge now. I mean, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, that's true, but moving on. So Ghost goes and sits right next to him and slides that spider card over to him and says, hey, listen, everybody think y'all kill Lobos. We kill Lobos. It's one thing you ought to be ruling in fear, but to say something that you didn't do, to say that you did something you didn't do, y'all gonna lose juice because of that, and you can't lose juice. And it's this whole conversation that the sister understands completely, and then she has to explain it to Diego. And he gets, of course, aggressive. He takes his gun out of his back and puts it right there on the table. And Tommy slides forward and says, listen, you think we didn't come here without a plan B, A, and B, you can't kill us because it's still going to get out either way. So they agree to think about it and contact them the next day, Tommy and Ghost. All right. Then we get to see Tommy, James, and Proctor. And they have to make a decision. They've got an opportunity to get rid of a key witness that could expose them in the whole Lobo situation, in the whole DEA, who, just it could really, really be bad for all three of them. And so they make a plan to use Teresa, thanks to Tommy, to eliminate this threat. All right. Great conversation. Great dialogue. It was good to see all three of them back together again at the same time. It's clear that Tommy and Ghost are alliance and Proctor is on the outside. Let's talk about Dre and Councilman Tate. Now, Dre and Councilman Tate clearly have a relationship. To me, clearly they have some type of alliance or setup between the two of them. I don't trust Tate. I love Lorenz Tate, but I'm not fooled by Councilman Tate here. Councilman Tate calls for a meeting. Now, let me say this. Drake got a lot of relationships because he is on the take, and he is showing us in this episode he ultimately what he wants to be is the biggest drug dealer in New York. Like, what an ambition, right? But I guess Ghost is kind of wearing off on everybody. Everybody's learning and using the things that Ghost has taught them by default or directly to grow up themselves. And Dre is no different. But he's got a little bit of a relationship, a duo with Cristobal and 718. He's got a duo with Kanan. Let's not forget about this. 2 or 3 episodes ago, he made some arrangements with Kanan. Y'all remember that? Uh-huh. Okay. He also obviously got something going on with Karen. Y'all remember Karen from the hotels? Y'all remember Karen from the hotels that he said he was talking to every day when he was talking to Ghost on the phone from jail? And Ghost say every day. And now we're going to see that Dre has a little bit of a relationship with the Jimenez cartel. So Dre is in bed with a whole bunch of different people. The councilman invites James out to look at his district. And of course, he is classic Lorenz Tate, still charming, great smile, a schmoozer, and he's a man of the people. Hey, how your mama doing? Tell your grandmama I said, hey, I'm looking forward to the cabbage next week. All right. Hey, how y'all doing? And he's shaking hands and talking to people and slapping them on the shoulder. He is a man of the people. For a minute there, I was like, is he taking money from people? Because he looked like he was taking, he was doing the old church slide. When somebody fold up $20 real tight in the church and put it in there, they're going to bless you with it. They put it in the palm of your hands and you supposed to just scoop it up and spit it and not tell nobody about it. That's how they was kind of look like they was passing money. But when I looked at it the second time, I was like, well, maybe he not passing money. But it kind of seemed like he was accepting money. But people contribute, to the cause. So I don't know. The fact that he invited Dre along unbeknownst to James, to me, let me know that there was something going on between Councilman Tate and Dre. Okay, so Councilman Tate sells the whole story. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take all these buildings, all these, and make it thriving businesses, all for the benefit of the children. The only problem we have here are these drug dealers. So, of course, James looks down, he sees the drug dealers, and he, of course, notices they're the 718 gang. Councilman Tate gets a phone call. Right, be right back, gentlemen. He steps away. And so when he steps away, then Dre is like, man, I wish they had some stuff. And Ghost is like, look at here. Look at here. You can't give me no heads up. You couldn't tell me what's going on. And Dre is like, man, I didn't even know. He thought you would be a good idea because we were talking. Okay. Dre's a liar. Oh, then they run the stats on everything, okay? Because they worked together before. This is so and so and so and so, and ain't he the one I traded for Julio? And Dre's like, yeah, I think so. Goes ahead and tells him about Tommy. Tells Ghost about the Jimenez cartel. And all the things that Tommy said to the Jimenez. He want to go to war. You got to talk to him, and this is what instigates the conversation between Ghost and Tommy and how they come back together to try to work out this whole Jimenez situation, because Dre let the cat out the bag. Now remember, Dre cannot have a war. He cannot, because it's just going to ruin everything he got going on. He got a lot of balls in the air. So later on, after meeting up with all of the little distributors underneath him, Dre letting them know that we could possibly go to war. Remember to strap up and get organized. Of course, they all chime in. Who's doing this? Tommy, we're not going to war. We don't go to war. They complaining about it. He tells them this is what the plan is. Get to it. They go on about their business, and he hangs back and talks to Cristobal. Okay. He and Cristobal agree privately that they got to smooth this ish over with the Jimenez gang. It can't be no war. And they also got to stay 2 steps ahead of Tommy. All right. So then we see Dre, Cristobal, 718. They meet up with the Jimenez psychos. And this is after Tommy and Ghost have met up with the Jimenez psychos. Okay. So they running their own game on the Jimenez. This is that little window that the Jimenez was supposed to decide if they was going to take Ghost and Tommy up on their offer. All right. So Dre is there with 718. That's the dude that killed Julio, as well as Cristobal. And they run the game. All right. Basically, he was saying, I can run this whole thing. The guys trust me. They listen to me, and they know that this whole war with you guys situation is wrong. With Tommy is wrong. And the Jimenez sisters like, well, Cristobal, is this true? And Cristobal's like, yeah, we trust him 100%. We feel like he, we listen to him. And she says, you're here coming up against your connect. And why? I want to be the biggest drug dealer in New York. She says, okay, child, please. She said, why don't we just kill you? And then we can do whatever it is we want to do. We don't need you. And that's when he springs into action and tells her that he's got all of these hotels, these Karen's hotels. He has been lining them up from here, internationally, abroad. We can sell drugs unhampered in these. It's a whole new line of, in these hotels, it's a whole new line of income, like a whole new stream of income. And she's interested. She agrees that what they're gonna do is go ahead and make Ghost and Tommy feel like they gonna take their deal, and he's going to make this hotel thing happen. Now, if he can't make this whole hotel thing happen, it's going to be bad for him. Dre calls Tommy and tells Tommy what they have decided. That Jimenez contacted him, and they've decided that they're going to they're going to agree to everything, and it's all good, it's all gravy. But later on, when he's in the car talking with Cristobal, and Cristobal, do you really think you can get away with doing this? And Ghost and Tommy don't find out. And Dre says with, confidence as he can, absolutely. I have to say, I do like this side of Dre. Like, I like the stronger Dre. I don't like the weaker Dre. All right, so let's go back to Councilman Tate. Later on, Councilman Tate is having a drink with um, James at James's house. This is when Tariq comes in and lets his dad know that he wants to go to this Connecticut school. He has this conversation with his dad right in front of Councilman Tate. And when Councilman Tate, when he meets Tariq, he's very complimentary of Tariq. To James, he is kind of, you know, puffing James up, talking about he's got his head on straight, and James is talking real boastfully about how proud he is of his son, and all of this, that, and the third. And there's just a slight little look on his face. Now, James has already told Councilman Tate, that he's gotten rid of the drug dealers. He's handled his end of that, so they shouldn't have any problem moving forward with helping the community, so on and so forth. And at the first onlook, just looking at it, it looks like two black men trying to do what's right in their community. But when you look a little closer at Tate's facial expressions, it just seems like, although he seems very, very Americana, very good guy, very, very community driven and faith driven. Keep the faith, you know what I'm saying? I can tell there's a psycho. There's a psycho that is simmering underneath there somewhere. The look on his face, just the gestures he giving goes, he feels dirty to me. He feels very, very dirty to me. Okay. We are going to talk about the whole Justice League, and that is Angela, Mock, um, um, Stacks, Donovan, Sandoval. All right. So I want to just go ahead and say this. Sandoval looks to me like it is taking his toll on him, from the whole Lobos to killing Knox to up to this point. Sandoval looks rolled hard and hung up wet. This evil that he is doing is taking a physical toll on him. He's showing up in places. Last week he didn't showed up at Donovan's house trying to kill Donovan, and Donovan had custody of his kids. Now he's showing up at Stacks. Stacks trying to catch a cab. He texting Angela. He trying to meet up with Angela and Donovan back over to Angela's house, and Sandoval is right behind and Tasman, and Stacks is like, woo, what are you doing here, buddy? He's like, yeah, I wanted to go over some things, but he's like, well, I'm busy right now. He says, listen, Stacks, I need to know that you still working with me on this whole Sandoval thing. I didn't tell you that Mott met with me privately. He wanted to talk about Donovan and he said, did Mott meet with you privately? Asking Stacks. And Stacks was like, no, I haven't talked to him, but I'm definitely on your side. We'll talk later. I'll keep you posted if I learn anything. All right, so he goes over to Angela's talking, and Donovan lets him know, I know he came to my house and he didn't know I had custody of my child. And they continue to go over the facts. He says he tried to implicate Donovan and kill him before he could clear his name. And so far, Stack says, all we have is circumstantial evidence. And if you go to Mott with this now, all three of us are going to be exposed to Sandoval, because he reveals to them that Sandoval has come to see him just that morning. Well, this is when Angela lets them know about this phone that she got from Nah. When she brings the phone up, she lets them know that St. Patrick gave her the phone. This is where the Justice League begins to connect the dots on regarding Lobos, Sandoval, Greg Knox, and all of that. And Donovan says, if you're right about Sandoval, he's one of the biggest criminals in the Department of Justice history. But can we prove it? What happens is Stacks meets up with Sandoval. They meet at the bar, and he tells them, this is what Angela have on you. And Mock is thinking that it's Angela, but Angela's got all this stuff that's on you. And she thinks it's you. And Sandoval, of course, suspiciously excuses himself. He can't drink any longer with Stacks, but Stacks is in on it all. He gets to Angela's house, and they, get to talking. She welcomes him in, even though he done yoked her up off the elevator and accused her of ruining everything. She invites him in and wants him to have a beer and all of that. Of course, he's trying to figure out how much she knows, and yeah. So I heard that you're going to Mock with this information about me. And she says, oh, you talked to Stacks. And he was like, and now he's sitting down, but he got the gun in the back. So she comes with the pictures, the picture of him, the picture of Knox, and she lays it all out for him. This is what I think happens. The Lobos and the Federales, and Knox found out, and he got a call from the Federales at the moment that you found out, and you shot him dead. All right. And at first he's trying to kind of deny it. No, it's a good lead, and woo woo woo, and this is the thing, and yada yada yada. And she is just like, absolutely not. This is what happens. And so Angela don't care about all that. What did Lobos have on you? And Sandoval finally breaks. He was going to kill my daughter. You have no idea the pressure that I've been under, being under Lobos' thumb. When they hear this, Donovan, Mock, and Stacks and the surveillance man, Donovan cannot wait to get in there and to arrest him. Mock wants to wait to hear a little bit more, but no, Donovan wants to go now because he doesn't want him to get away. So while they take a team and run upstairs, he wants Stacks to stay there and listen. Well, Stacks is listening, and he hears Sandoval say, your hands are dirty in this too. And as Sandoval begins to talk about things and reveal some things, of course, Angela is playing very, very coy. Y'all know how she does. No, I'm innocent in all of this. I am completely, completely innocent. And she slips and turns her microphone off because she don't know what Sandoval gonna say. All right. At the same time, he has pulled a gun. You got a gun? And they hear her say he's got a gun. Oh no, he's got a gun. He's got a gun. And okay, so he makes a turn around. Turn around. He don't want to look at it. You can tell he's not comfortable with killing Angela for whatever reason. So when he tells her that this is what I'm gonna tell them happened, and how you were killed, and she said, "But wait a minute, how you gonna do that with my back turned? How you gonna prove that I came after you with my back turned?" He was like, "What?" And she pulls her gun out and shoots him in the shoulder. Cow. So he goes down. Ugh. And she shows him her microphone when she gets up on him. She shows him her microphone and she says, you're not a murderer. You're a witness. And he's like, why are you helping me? Listen, you have time to get out of this. So they kick the door in, and she really plays the role like, oh, he just came at me and I had to shoot him. Already Mark knows where they're going to take him, where they're going to hold him at. We're going to take him down for questioning. So back at headquarters, Sandoval is laying it all out for Mark. Mark is like, what happened to you? And he said, look, let me tell you what I want. I want immunity. And Mark is like, why would I give you immunity? Because if you don't, I will implicate Lobos in every case that you have had for the last 20 years. It will be a scandal and a debacle that will ruin your career. So give me what I want, or this is what's going to happen. And as he's telling Mark this, you can see the blood rush from Mark's face. Like, he is just like, what the flip? A mocktail Sandoval, I have to think about it. Meanwhile, Angela goes to Silver and she tells Silver, hey, just wanted to let you know we found the killer in the Greg Knox case. And he's like, really already? Yeah. We got the individual down at MCC. Tell them where she tell them about Sandoval being the mole. She tell them where they can locate him, where they can find him, and please let Proctor know as well. I just wanted to let you know that all of that's over now. Please let Proctor know as well. He won't care, but yeah, just tell him just so he'll know what's going on. Now, we already know that Angela dry snitching, and we already know that this is all a part of her plan, because once he tell Ghost, that's it. Even if he forget to tell Ghost, if he tell Proctor gonna tell Ghost, right? Because they work together and Angela know all this. So this is a conversation that Tommy and Proctor and James are having about how they gonna deal with Sandoval. And they use Teresa to get rid of Sandoval. This is how, against Kate's wishes, she warned Tommy not to get in bed with Teresa, but he does by default because he needs this. They need to get rid of Sandoval before they move him into federal custody, right? Sandoval is in with the doctor. He's looking at a picture of his daughter. He goes over to the window and contemplates the shambles that is his life. A doctor comes in, doesn't say a word, takes a scalpel and cuts that carotid artery in his neck. And like that, he bleeds out and dies. He doesn't even get a chance to close his eyes. The lights just go out. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the fact that Sandoval's death had more dignity and grace than Julio's. Julio was crawling in the gutter, choking on his own blood, but I digress. Later on, we see Stacks and Mock and Angela standing over Sandoval's body, talking about who could have told him? How did people know they were here? Nobody knew but us, okay? Now, Stacks is suspicious, but we're probably not going to hear anything about Stacks' suspicion until 9 or 10 or maybe even season 5, because Stacks is now suspicious. He has had Knox try to implicate Angela. He has had Bailey try to implicate Angela. And now he has heard Sandoval so much as call her guilty as well on this audio tape. So he is going to have a bee up in his bonnet about Angela. We already know that, you guys. This is the episode. We see the last scene, which is Angela, after Stacks and Mock leaves the room, kneel over Sandoval's body and said, this is for Greg. This was for Greg. All right. So she set him up to be killed to cover her own A. And in her mind, this was all for Greg. But we all know, because we don't like that witch, that she did this to cover her own behind, right? Because she back on clock. Like she got a visit, she got her regular badge on now. She's no longer a visitor. All right. So let's talk about a couple of things that we need to pull out of this episode. All right. One, Proctor still has the laptop. In this episode, after everything is said and done, we see him go to one of these mailbox places. He's got a safe deposit box with a key, and he puts the laptop in there. He's holding this laptop in this safe deposit box. Why? We don't know, except the fact that he feels like at some point he's going to need this leverage. Proctor, don't play. Don't play, Proctor. Don't do it. Councilman Tate. You know, like I said, he meets up with James. He learns about the 718 crew being moved. And he learns about Tariq and where Tariq wants to go to school and all that. Councilman Tate is going to be an issue. Councilman Tate is going to be a problem. Okay, you guys, that is it for season 4, episode 8 of Power. It's done. All right. What did you guys think? It was full of um espionage and scheming. It wasn't as bloody as the last few episodes have been, and I can kind of appreciate that. I'm glad that we're all caught up now, and I'm excited about what the next two episodes are gonna hold. So you guys let me know what you thought of this episode down below. Do you guys think that Councilman Tate is shady? Y'all think he in cahoots with Dre? Y'all like I mean, it look like that they trying to build their own kingpin, and Councilman Dre and Kanan and they gonna all be a part of it. So is Ghost gonna have a rival drug dealer? Like, what is happening? What is going on? Yeah, what do y'all think about Silver? What do y'all think about Tasha and Silver? What do y'all think about Silver's acting? Like, I don't know. Eh, eh. What do y'all think about Tariq? Having seen this woman have to run for his life, and still he doesn't have any give. He hasn't softened. I really believe Tariq is over to the dog side. He's not crying. He's not emotional. He's depressed. He's self-medicating. Okay, you guys, that's it for me. That's it for Power. Remember to subscribe, rate, and comment down below. Until next time, honeybees. Mwah. Holla.